Welcome everybody, thanks for joining me once again in one of the final reviews in my horror marathon, and I'll be looking at what is considered by many the first true horror film, and it is none other than The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And I have been waiting for this one for a long time. I'm very late getting it. I tried to buy it for $12.45 on Zavi, but it was sold out by the time I got there. It sold out very, very quickly, but it came back on again at $12.45 just last week, so I had to order it because I wanted it at that price plus my 10% student discount, which means I got it for like £11, which was good. This is a fantastic release once again from Eureka, Masters of Cinema series. I've been waiting on this one for like 2 months. I mean, I'm so excited and I wanted to rewatch it in this quality. And I haven't seen this film in 2.5, maybe even 3 years. I can't remember. It was one of the first one of the first silent films I ever saw, and it left quite an impression on me because straight away I understood the German Expressionist style and the influence it had, even on Tim Burton, which is quite obvious here. I'll get into that soon. And this film goes without saying. It's just a classic. Its influence is one of the most influential German Expressionist films, one of the most influential films in cinema, I would say, especially so in Germany. And you can definitely see that for 1920 it's quite visually impressive. This honestly is an essential viewing for anyone interested in the history of cinema and film in general, because you really do see the birth of the genre. Obviously beforehand there was other shorts and whatnot that would have been made depicting horrific things, but this is the first true leap, and that's why people call it the first true horror film. And it's really interesting to see how we have some of those generic tropes in there of horror that we now know, such as, twist endings, twists in the plot, basically challenging the viewer. And then you have, of course, like things like ambiguous endings, which we come to know in certain horror films. Is it really over? Things like that in this film, you can see it's quite evident. The visuals in the film are just spectacular. I mean, every single shot you can see the effort and craft put into each shot, and there's been a lot of discussion and debate about in several books and stuff about the making of the film, as to who was responsible for this creative style. Was it Robert Veen, the director? Was it the art director and whatnot for each scene? So I'm just going to go ahead and say this is a collaborative art piece in a sense, and of course the people who handcrafted all those set designs and who was responsible for doing that in each shot, don't exactly know how to credit here, but I have to say it's absolutely spectacular. The interesting thing to note is German Expressionism. While this is considered revolutionary in terms of film, German Expressionism in film visually, the Expressionist movement was a bit beforehand in art. I haven't seen any pictures. I'm just going by what I've learnt in the documentary. But in terms of visual, I can't think of a film before this that looks like this in the slightest. Everything that this film does is just amazing. I mean, it's 94 years old and it's still managing to create a haunting and chilling atmosphere. And it's still one that is divided for interpretation, because there's a lot of ways you can look at it, and I'll not spoil anything, but it does have some twists and turns in the story, and it makes it really interesting to watch and deconstruct. Now I would like to move on to my point about how the film has influenced directors like Tim Burton. Now when we look at Caesar, the somnambulist in the film, this character here, who's on the poster, you can definitely see some similarities. I knew that I spotted it straight away. This looks like Edward Scissorhands. I mean, undoubtedly. I'm going to compare that maybe. And you can just see, even in the style, even the way the character moves, it's very reminiscent in Edward Scissorhands. It's quite like this character. And then, of course, we have the visuals of the film, which I know Tim Burton in his autobiography has even stated himself was an influence, and you can definitely see that when we look at the shapes in his films, whether it's Nightmare Before Christmas or Edward Scissorhands or even Beetlejuice. We've got those doorways that are slanted, jagged edges on the sets. Just all of that in his style is very reminiscent of films like Caligari. Definitely Caligari. Now, moving on to what's inside. Great release again, nice cover, info on the back as usual. The booklet is superb. I haven't read through it yet, but there's some beautiful images. I love this artwork. This is fantastic artwork. We have other artwork in here. Here we see Caesar carrying a woman up the hill, which is something quite similar to King Kong and Frankenstein carrying away a girl, you know. So that's a precursor to that. And we have an essay on the film, and then more images. Here's another superb image. You know, just beautiful, beautiful stuff. I think there's some posters in here too. Original posters of the film. I can't seem to find any, but yeah, images like that, superb. In terms of special features, this one again has some pretty good ones in there. We have a 60-minute or 50-minute documentary looking at the making of the film and the history of the film. We have a 5.1 audio score which you can play, which sounds superb. I keep using the word superb, excuse me for that. That's called Caligari, the Birth of Horror in the First World War. Then we have a video essay by filmmaker and critic David Kearns, basically talking about, you know, what's in the film. And it's very interesting, it's quite eye-opening, and it makes you think about what you've seen in the film. So that's worth watching. It's only 15 minutes or so. Then the 44-page booklet, which I showed you. Then we have some notes on the restoration of the film in a video format of some German speaking about how the film is important. And this is a 1080p transfer of the film, 4K resolution edition of the film, basically, and it looks stunning. Whenever I first watched the film, it was on a download, and it was quite shoddy, and the music was awful. The music here is great. I'm not sure which soundtrack it is, but overall, yeah, this is one of my favourite releases now from Masters of Cinema, because it's a superb film. There I go again, using the word superb. Excuse me for that. I need to broaden my vocabulary in this video. Das Cabinet de Caligari is a film you need to see from Masters of Cinema, and it's worth going out and buying this one. Well, that's it for this video, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, look forward to getting up the other videos at the end of the week. There'll be a video every day here. So, until next time, everyone, comment, subscribe, and all that shit. That is my new catchphrase. I like it. I'll see you next time, everyone.